Welcome to the Fat Fueled Family Podcast, where every week Danny and Maura Vega discuss topics that help families live a healthy and active lifestyle with their little ones, including nutrition and training, peaceful parenting, education, and mindset. To stay up to date, make sure to hit subscribe on this podcast and check out the blog at www.fatfueled.family. You can also find them on Facebook and Instagram at dannyvega.ms, at fatfueledmom, and at fatfueledkids, and Fat Fueled Family on YouTube. Enjoy the show.
Welcome back to the Fat Fueled Family Podcast. I'm your host, Danny, and I'm here joined by my stressed out wife, Maura. How are you, my love?
I'm good as long as all the people stressing me out can just stay in their lane.
It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be tough.
They're very dedicated to the
cause.
To the cause, yeah.
Oh, busy times, guys. It's busy times, and Maura's burnt out, and she needs a little bit of help, and so that's what we're trying to give her. But
it's okay. I'll survive. I'm strong.
For sure. This episode was amazing with Shawn. I love one of my favorite things he said, because I really love talking to Shawn. I just love hanging out with him. Is he says that he loves coming on our podcast most than most.
I'm so happy that this is Shawn's episode that we're introducing right now. It makes me feel a little bit better. Yeah. I want to go back to that day. Was I fasting that day? I feel like we always talk when we're fasting. I think we were in the middle of that fast.
Were we? Maybe.
Or it was very shortly after.
It was shortly after, I think.
Yeah, that was a good day. When I felt really good.
So this is, yeah.
It's nice to think of those days.
Reminiscing. Dip into the cookie jar, like David Goggins said.
Hey, it works.
When things are
get
hard,
you through.
Yeah, or get those good memories.
You're like, I'll have another day like that soon.
Yeah, and dipping into the cookie jar is what gets you through tough times. So he has all these tricks, and one of them is when things get really, really hard, and a lot of the time it's the physical stuff. Dip into that cookie jar. Think of that ultra marathon you ran on broken legs, or stuff like that. So Shawn, this is his second time on the podcast, and it was a great episode. Let me give you guys an intro if you don't know who Shawn is. Shawn Wells is the world's leading nutritional biochemist and expert on health optimization. Sorry, it took a while to get that one out. He has formulated over 500 supplements, food, beverages, and cosmeceuticals, and patented 10 novel ingredients, and is now known as the Ingredientologist, the scientist of ingredients. Formerly a chief clinical dietitian with over a decade of clinical experience, he has counseled thousands of people on natural health solutions such as keto, paleo, fasting, and supplements. He has also personally overcome various health issues, including Epstein-Barr Virus, chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, depression, insomnia, obesity, and a pituitary tumor. As a world-renowned thought leader on mitochondrial health, he has been paid to speak on 5 different continents. His insights have been prominently featured in documentaries, nationally syndicated radio programs, and regularly on morning television. His expertise can help any health-conscious individual to do better, or to better manage stress and experience higher performance and more energy through utilizing his practical holistic solutions. You can get the book, The Energy Formula, at energyformula.com. And you can follow Shawn on Instagram at Shawn Wells. Guys, this is a great episode. Do you have anything else to add?
Nothing. Just enjoy this amazing conversation with one of our really dear friends.
Yeah, that we can't wait to see again so we can hug him. So check this one out, guys. Let us know what you think. Leave a 5-star rating and review for us. It helps us a ton, keeps us in the spotlight, and helps us get more amazing guests like Shawn. Enjoy the show. Hey everybody, I just wanted to take a quick minute to talk about our sponsor, Keto Brick. As you guys know, I have been around since the very beginning when it was just an idea, when Robert was getting ready for the show that took him pro, and he needed something to help him hit his macros. And I've seen it grow into the company it is today. Just so proud of my friend, and I'm so proud of the company he's built, the people he's been able to help, as he has several people who work for them. And so he's actually helping people make a living doing this now, which is just unbelievable and so inspirational to me. If you don't know what Keto Bricks are, they are shelf-stable fat bombs, for lack of a better term. They are 1,000 calorie bricks, and they have great ingredients. They have ketogenic macros, usually like 88 to 90 grams of fat with 30 grams of protein. And then the carbs are anywhere from 9 to 14. Super low carb, super keto friendly. And you can do all types of cool stuff with them. I tell everybody my favorite is Keto Brick cereal. I chop it up into little chunks and serve it with a bowl of cereal with almond milk or goat milk, which is my favorite. They have several flavors. They now have vegan and whey options. So they have the whey protein peanut butter as well as the old school pea protein peanut butter, which either one of them is easily in my top two. Go back and forth between those and the toasted almond coconut. So definitely go to www.ketobrick.com, get yourself some bricks, and use Vega for a chance to win a whole month supply of bricks. What's up, buddy?
Yo, what's going on, guys?
We're happy to have you back, man.
So happy to have you back.
Oh, man, I love you guys. Honestly, like our episode that we did last time, which we'll have to link in the show notes.
Yes,
Absolutely.
we will.
Absolutely.
I'm just messing with you guys. But it was amazing. It was really amazing. We went like super deep, and I remember like we were kind of
I think
like
Mount almost
Weren't
cried.
we fasting? We were like in the middle of a fast too, weren't
yeah,
we?
yeah.
You and I.
We were getting pretty deep, and it was
That's good.
we were building off of each other, and it was amazing. It was a great conversation.
It was great.
It was, dude. Hopefully we could live up to it. I remember that conversation very well. And I remember it was hard to pick an audio clip.
Yeah.
Because it was just, there was lots of gravy.
The whole thing is quotable.
Yeah, it was gravy. It was all gravy.
All of it was gravy.
Amazing.
So
part two.
Yeah, let's
this
get
is
this
gonna
party.
be part
Let's get
two.
this party started.
Yeah. And so, we always lead off with this question, and I know you already answered it last time, but problems change. Things change. So, right now, what is the most critical problem you are currently trying to solve?
The most critical problem I am trying to solve is self-love. I don't know what I said last time, but
I think you did say that.
Maybe. I'm going to have to go back now and listen.
When I go into I've done probably 20 plant medicine journeys over the last year and a half. And I just finished NLP this past week. I'm a certified practitioner now, and I'll be doing master's level, and I'll be doing trainer's training. So I have like 21 plus days ahead of me, more of training to go in NLP. I've been doing work with a Byron Katie style therapist, and all of this, and a number of masterminds and mentors, and this last year and a half, including COVID, like I feel so blessed for being able to explore who I am as a human being so that I can show up in a much greater way. One of the things that I discuss in my book is this idea of biohacking. It's traditionally been like an N of one, a study of one, a self-quantification. How can I elicit greater performance for myself? How can I be limitless? How can I get more performance? How can I get more money, have the better job, have the better life? There's also, and that's biohacking, hacking your biology. There's another mashup term called hacktivism that I like, and it's hacking for the social good, like Julian Assange, Edward Snowden, Anonymous. And I created this term biohacktivism, that like we can hack ourselves with these biohacks, these optimizations, so that we can show up in a much greater way for each other. We can have greater empathy. We can have greater connection with the world around us. And that's energizing. And that's something that I've been deeply working on. I've been moving away from being insecure, being like seeking the achievements and the accolades and the letters after my name, and being on TV and all these things, because that's how I was trying to seek love, was through achievement, through doing. And now I'm no longer trying. It's being. I am love. I am sexy. I am happy. I am successful. They're states of mind. They're not achievements. And so my life has really shifted. And I actually rewrote this book 3 times because of all the shifting in my life. I actually recorded it, which I don't know if you know how hard it is to record a book and use your own voice. It's brutal. And I probably
That
spent
sounds brutal.
it's 25 or 30 hours
Yeah.
of recording, and I ended up re-recording it.
Oh no. I
So,
feel like that would be me. I'd be like, it's not good enough.
because I had so many shifts in terms of who I was. The science was still correct in there, but the way I connected it all and wanted like the through line to be there of resilience, both mentally and physically, and connection with people, and my happiness and my joy, like that was so important to me. And so that's where I'm doing the work, the inner work. But I've actually like pivoted away from even that word work, because I want this to be inner play. And that's been something I've been focused on, is how can I turn my life into more play, more exploration, more creativity.
I love that.
I love it. I think I want to change something, because this is such a good segue for one of our questions, and I want to go off script here, because you mentioned it's towards the end, this idea of Ubuntu.
Yes.
And I think, let's talk about it now, because we're there. I love this idea because, a lot of people talk about how, and we've talked about this before, how there's people who make it, quote unquote, make it, right? They make all this money. They have all this success, and then it's like it's not fulfilling because they're only focused on themselves. And I think I'm totally with you. Like, we're lacking that community aspect. We're lacking that mutual respect. So, kind of, first of all, does linguistic programming have anything to do with helping people connect better? I can imagine it does, but does that have anything to do with it? Is there a role for it? And how can we get to a point where people can get back to this, getting away from this, like, I don't trust you type of thing? Because that's the vibe that I get always. Like, if I'm on a run, people walk away from me now. And it's like, if I'm, in the store, people are like, are kind of getting away from me. And it's like, we've completely disconnected from each other. I mean, I'm sure you've thought about this. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, those are great questions. Ubuntu means I am because we are. And it's a way of kind of, to your point of what I was talking about, that you are not like think of yourself as like a cell, right? And you're a cell in the human body. You're part of a much greater whole. And we are this collection of cells that are this beautiful human body, and we need to orchestrate together to make this body work in such a great way. And if we're just this rogue cell, then we're just a cancer cell or a senescent cell that should just be deleted and canceled.
That's really good.
That's a really good analogy. I love that.
But getting back to your point about NLP, I think of NLP almost like Jedi powers, in that like there's a dark side and a light side.
Yeah, I can see how it can be abused.
Yeah, we're getting programmed every day by TV programming. We're getting programmed by our phones. We're getting programmed every day by people that know how to manipulate us on the deepest level. It's gone far beyond demographics and even psychographics. It's now algorithms. They can actually use that phone to look at your pupil dilation, your galvanic response, your pore size, and tell this phone is doing all this. They can tell where you're at. Like, every time you're passing by that Applebee's and you get triggered, and you're listening to X song on Spotify, and you're going to make a right turn at that gas station. That's where you usually get gas. And right after you get gas, that's when you're actually buzzing, and you're surfing Tinder, because now you're buzzing, and that's the right time to do this for you so that you'll buy this.
Yep.
It's very advanced.
Oh, it is.
But NLP can help you understand what's going on with, it's called like internal representations. We're different types of thinkers. These IRs, like, some people are auditory, some people are visual, Some people are kinesthetic, like where they're feelers. And then some people are more AD, auditory digital, where they're more thinkers. And we all use a blend of all of them, but you can understand how to connect with someone better. Like you can say, like if someone's auditory digital, you might say, does that make sense? Or if someone's more visual, you say um, like, is that crystal clear for you? Or if someone's more auditory, you say, how does that sound? And it's really fascinating. And you can also see with eye patterns, like, which one they are too. But a lot of the work we did, like over the past week that I was there, was similar to my plant medicine style breakthroughs, where we were using some tools that were like this timeline therapy, where I was going back into my timeline, going to events that were traumatic for me, and finding ways you can hover above your timeline and actually take the charge off some of these events. And when you take the charge off of a key event far enough back, you actually strip the whole timeline of all the charges, of all the events that come after it.
Wow.
And I worked through anger, fear, guilt, shame, like sadness, like all of these different emotions at different events on my timeline. And I felt like massive release from that. So these are tools that, I plan on using not only with myself. I mean, I feel it's clearly important for me to heal myself, as I was talking about before, but I want to bring that to other people. And, I've been outspoken about my depression and suicidal thoughts and things like that, because it's just important to me. My brand, quote unquote, is nothing that I make money from. It's all about just me trying to connect with people that I know are out there on the fringes and feel like they've been left behind or forgotten about, or were bullied like I was, or were abused or neglected. And that's stuff that really resonates with me. So that's really my why. I'm passionate about the stuff I do with ingredients, and that's how I make my money, and it's exciting. But my primary purpose on this planet is to impact lives.
I love it. And it comes through in the book. And I'll be honest, man, when I got to the nutrition and the fitness stuff, I read it and stuff, but at the same time, it's like, give me the gravy. I want the other stuff. And like,
for us, like we've done so much at this point.
Yeah, we've read a lot of this stuff.
We've all done so much research into these things that it's like kind of redundant. You're like, give me the good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I found myself gravitating towards that other stuff, like all the other stuff that you talked about, like self-love and, being authentic and caring about others. That's the stuff that we're like, and it can't be quantified as much. It's not like, there's not like a set of macros for that. It takes work and time.
Yeah, agreed. And one thing, I wanted to do with this book is, I'm friends with Dave Asprey and Ben Greenfield, and I was just on Ben's show, for example, that like those guys like are getting like hyper technical, and I made a decision to, even though I can get hyper technical, and the show I did with Ben was more on the technical side, I wanted this to be something that my mom could use, that anyone could pick up, and it isn't about enemas and peptides and like hardcore stuff. Like I wanted it to be stuff that anyone could pick up, and it's well explained, and there's the tools there, and there's the graphics there, and there's the research there, so that it's highly approachable and you can put all these pieces together.
I love that.
So your finished book, it is called The Energy Formula, and it is awesome. But how would you describe for our listeners what living an energized life means?
I think that's something I've really been exploring, because I've lived so much of my life without energy and not understanding why, because of the depression, because of suicidal thoughts, because of autoimmune issues, because I was overweight. But the biggest reason is I was lacking self-love and not having purpose. And I feel like when you're out of alignment, when you're out of integrity, your body battles back. And it can battle back in very harsh ways. And I had many points in my life where I got very sick, like with the autoimmune stuff. I was in bed for 6 months in pain and inflamed. I got a brain tumor. I've had 2 discs removed from my neck. I've had like a lot of issues come up that was really from me pushing so hard and self-loathing so much. I had disordered eating and body dysmorphia. I mean, I was 300 pounds at one point, and hated myself. And then I was 150 pounds, anorexic, and weighing myself every time I peed, and hated myself. I'm 6'2". And there was a point where I was 220 and muscular and ripped, and I was working out 4 hours a day, orthorexic, and I still hated myself.
Right.
So at no point in this process of all these body types and different ways of eating and supplementing did I actually like myself. And I would say that that transformation really has been taking place over the last 2 years, but really like went on warp speed when I did plant medicine for the first time. And that's when people can tell you, hey, you should love yourself, bro, or whatever. But
Thanks. I'm cured.
You're like, okay, that's great. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But when I was in the plant medicine space and no one knew who I was out of the 20 people there, like it just so happened, like I didn't give my resume and I didn't say, oh, I'm this, biochemist. I'm this ingredient guy. I'm well known. I did keto and blah, none of that shit. No one knew who I was. And I ended up in a cuddle puddle on the floor with all these people. And I felt love, and I felt, oh shit, like I just have to be love and I can get love. It's not an achievement. And that was like a massive shift for me because, like I said, my whole life I felt insecure and I was just trying to level up and 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 keep leveling up. Still not good enough. I'm on TV. Now I have to be in documentaries. Like I made $1 million. I got to make $10 million. Like I have like a really nice car. I got to get a better car. There was no point where I felt accomplished or loved myself. And it wasn't until I got in this space that I felt, oh my God, it's this simple. And there's neuroplasticity that's taking part when you're in the space, the enhanced BDNF, where it's like literally leaving an imprint on my brain, and my heart is feeling that shift and my body is feeling that lift of that weight, that I become healthier. So much of our pain and inflammation and disease, dis-ease, is because we are not in a state of ease. We are in a state of dis-ease.
Yes.
We're out of alignment from our truth. And it's killing us.
Yeah, and we have so many distractions and so many ways to just occupy every single space in your brain so that you're never in that, what you call the psychological flow state. There's so many things that get in our way, and we're fighting back like no. We're to that point where we're like no. And before we were like kind of like no, but not really. And even just from I think independence and building skills is part of that for us, at least, because we feel like you feel that confidence and you feel that you don't have to participate in something you don't like. And you could just totally be like, listen, whatever's going on out there doesn't really matter. It doesn't affect me. And that's really helped us because both of us, unfortunately, have this thing where we want to change the world and we want to mold the world into what we want. It's like, this is not right. We need to fix it. And we both think that we could be the ones to fix it. And we've slowly started to learn that at least the way we thought we would fix it is not the way. It's not going to be by convincing everybody.
It's not a meme.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a meme.
It's not going to be a meme. And it's not even going to be like hitting people with all the science. It's going to be, like Shawn said, being love, living that example. And that's what works. And of course, telling our story, that I think that helps, because, every time you tell your story about what you've gone through, there's several people who haven't heard it. And this might be their first time. So it's good to keep talking about it. But let's talk a little bit about the stress part of it, because you were the first one who taught me. I think you mentioned it somewhere. You mentioned it about allostatic load and how important it is to balance our stressors. Because like for people like me, and you've been down this road with, a lot of the stresses that we experience are self-imposed through excessive exercise, fasting for too long. Yeah, intensity, volume, diet manipulations, heat, cold therapy, all those other things that we may overdo. But you also mentioned psychological flow, and this is what I'm all about. So how does an overflowing stress bucket impact psychological flow?
Yeah, that's a great question. The through line for the book is resilience, and that can be discussed in a number of ways. And like you were talking about, the idea in our body is called allostatic load, and that's the stress bucket. And the thing is, like, that's the degree to which we're harder to kill, right? So in the past, decades, millennia past, even we were harder to kill because we were exposed to more stressors. We were exposed to hot and cold temperatures. Now we're thermically controlled 68 to 72 degrees all day, every day.
Yep.
We were exposed to the stress of not eating for a day, 2 days, 3 days. It wasn't called fasting, it was called starving. And now we have like omnipresent food with Grubhub, Uber Eats, vending machines, gas stations, pantries, and all the stuff. And now we take our hot showers every day. It used to be bathing in the lake or the river. It's like, so we don't have the stress of walking to work that could have been 5, 10, 20 miles away. Like, we're just getting in a car. Like, our stresses are much more self-imposed, like being in an artificial box with artificial floor, breathing artificial air, eating artificial food, looking at an artificial life on an artificial screen on the wall.
Right.
Those are our stresses that are coming up. And so much of our stress now is much more psychological than physiological, but your body doesn't know the difference. That stress bucket is overflowing. And that has repercussions over time. That heightened state of sympathetic nervous system from the autonomic nervous system is like consistently in fight or flight, because that bucket's overflowing. And we don't have room for what's called even eustress. Like in the book, there's like a bell curve. And there's on one side, on the left side of the bell curve, there's eustress, a good stress, EU stress. And then in the middle, there's the Goldilocks zone. That's the ideal amount of stress to create adaptation from the agitation. And then on the other side of the curve, the right side of the curve, is distress. And we're creating, like you said, Mara, there's sometimes too many levers pulled. Even things that should be good stresses, eustresses, can end up being distresses because that bucket's too full. And so, like, I remember last year when we were actually doing the fasting challenge, I actually had a nervous breakdown. First time in my life.
Oh, wow.
Because I was running that contest and I was like answering like hundreds of DMs, and I was working with all these companies, and I was trying to share everything. And then I was trying to do my regular job and work with my team. And it was like frantic pace for like 100+ hours a week of like this week of setting it all up, working with everyone, filming my stuff. And I had a breakdown, and I never had one before. And I like realized afterwards that like it had to do with this bucket overflowing. And I remember like screaming, like, won't someone fucking help me? Like, I felt like no one was helping me. And I was putting all this pressure on myself to do all these things. I wasn't even asking for the help. I didn't know how to ask for the help. At that time, I wasn't as savvy with my team. And I felt a lot better about that. But yeah, and so that gets into the idea, Danny, on the psychological side. To me, the resilient mind is the stoic mind, where the obstacle is the way, where you don't just wish for no obstacle or a shortcut around the obstacle, but you find that that challenge is the way, and you keep leveling up to where it's periodic moments of dis-ease, but largely you want to stay in states of ease so that you can rest and recover. But you have momentary periods of dis-ease, of feeling uncomfortable, so that you can level up to a new level of ease, and you can be harder to kill and your stress bucket's bigger. And then you have a greater capacity for stress, mental or physiologic. And things like adaptogens can help. Things like ashwagandha and rhodiola are going to help normalize that stress response, give you a bigger bucket. But then, like you talked about, doing cold plunges and red light therapy and hot saunas and fasting and keto and doing weights and all of these things are going to help with your physiologic and mental stress response, and having that greater capacity, that greater allostatic load, that bigger bucket, and being harder to kill.
Love it.
I love that. Yeah, that last fast that we did, on that second night, I went in the sauna, which was a huge mistake because I was trying to just, keep myself busy. The nighttime is the hardest part for me. I can fast every day until the nighttime is always the hardest part for me. And yeah, I knew it the minute I was in there for a few minutes. I was like, oh, there we go. I was pushed over the edge. It was just too much. So we have to be mindful.
Fasting, if you look back into the past, it was like a time for reflection,
right?
A time for like philosophical understanding or spiritual understanding. You're meant to not be stressed out during this period, not to take on new stressors, additional stressors. It's a time to relax and reflect. But like when we add these extended fasts into our daily schedule, and we're, in traffic, and we've got kids, and we got to make meals, and we got to do this and do that, it can be overwhelming. You have to execute it in the right way, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's why I did so well this time, was because I was like, oh no, I'm going to do this. Spiritual reasons. This is all about others, all about God. This is not about me. And I probably could have kept going, because when you are in that space and it's not about weight loss, oh my gosh, like the ketones, like all that stuff, that's a stressor. Is like feeling, yeah. So I agree. It's amazing. So one of the themes in the book that we loved had to do with, our why, and you were kind of talking about that earlier, and how it feeds our passion and our purpose. I'm a huge believer in this, but it falls short unless it involves something bigger than ourselves, right? We've seen this firsthand with so many people who may be crushing it from a business perspective, but they don't really seem fulfilled. What is it about working towards something bigger than yourself that's so powerful?
Man, these are really great questions. I really like these questions a lot. They're definitely deeper questions, and I appreciate that. Simon Sinek has a book, Start With Your Why, and I'm a huge fan of that. And
yes, Simon Sinek is good.
And having purpose is the game changer in your life. It's what's going to transform your health. It's what's going to provide you longevity. There's really two things that are the most key factors in longevity. If you go and look at all these blue zones and super centenarians, it's not that they're taking peptides or metformin or all these cool things that I talk about in the book. It's that they have community and connection, and they have purpose. And as soon as you stop having community and connection, like during COVID-19, you get sicker and you die and you have disease and you're lonely and your immune system is repressed. And when you don't have purpose, like when you retire, you get sick, your immune system sucks, you get disease, and you die. And so living with purpose and having deep connection throughout your entire health span, not just lifespan, which I get into in the book, it's really important. Health span is how long you're living without disease in general. Your health span is much longer. Quality of life is much better. The Harvard study, that's now like 80 years in, the greatest study of all time at this point, showed that the number one factor in longevity, and they've been studying generations, looking at blood work, looking at socioeconomic status, ethnicity, all the things. And the number one determinant of longevity for them was quality of relationships.
Wow.
So
I believe it.
Having purpose, having quality of relationships are so key in longevity. And you can get caught up in taking pills and diets and exercise, and all those things can be great. I definitely think those are optimizations. But that's where I'm looking now, is that I want the foundation of self-love, of deep quality connections, creating an incredible family around me, a chosen family, and then having like fulfilling my purpose and living my purpose. Then I can optimize on top of that. Most of my life, I didn't have the connection. I didn't have my why. I was severely depressed. I hated myself. And I was biohacking to live, to survive.
Yeah.
Especially with how much I hated myself, and I was grinding. So I was trying to work 80 hours a week to keep leveling up. Heads down, Gary V, gotta grind.
Yeah.
And what happens when we grind? There's heat.
Yeah.
Friction.
Pieces that break off. There's smoke. There's disease. Your head's down. You're going from sympathetic nervous system to ultrasympathetic nervous system. You're always in a state of vigilance. You're never in a state of rest and digest or relaxation where the parasympathetic nervous system can take over and your body can heal, and autophagy can take place, and you can live a refreshed life, and that bucket isn't overflowing anymore. And I know what that's like, and I know what it's like to live that and be that. And so living your why and having that connection, that's the most important thing. Otherwise, you're trying to like fix the car while you're going 80 miles an hour down the road.
That's so good, dude.
So true.
We've been like, probably because of what we've been reading and listening to, it's like, it's a redefinition of what wealth is. You know, like wealth.
Yeah.
You know, like wealth is the relationships, your family,
Time.
it's time, and it's building skills. Because I think we're meant to be working, and I don't, whatever you want to call it, but like learning and building new skills, because it's part of why we're confident. You know, like people started to feel bad about, you know, let's say they lived in this, you know, agrarian culture, and their kids were, you know, they're like, I want a better life for my kids. I'm going to hire some hands. You know, we've done well enough that we have some farm hands, and now the kids are not doing the farm work. And then that's where we start to see more lack of fulfillment, and the kids, and it's like, what do you mean? It's just they're waking up every day to milk cows and stuff. And it's like, yeah, but those mundane things where you're out there milking the cow and you're connecting with the cow, you know, like those are things that I think we should try to go back to. And that's kind of like our current thing now, is trying to go back to that within our parameters.
Yeah.
Because we're never going to be farmers, but like, you know, connecting more with the land, connecting more with our local community.
Yeah, even just really, and again, relationships.
Yeah.
Right? It's not to say, oh, we all need to be homesteaders, but it's time for relationships. We're all seeing what's going on with the grocery prices. Everybody freaked out for a little bit there, but it's good. It's a good thing. What happened? I think it opened up people's eyes. Like, we need to have these relationships. It's like a fantasy to just go to the store and get your packaged little steak, but what happens when it's not there?
What happens when it's $30, $40, $50 a pound?
Or what happens when it's $30 a pound, right? So just forming those connections, getting to know people in the community, local ranchers, local farmers, people who make things, who are bartering and stuff like that.
We're doing a lot of that.
Our microbiome, the bacteria in and on our body, grossly outnumbers the number of cells we have.
Wow.
Yeah, it's insane.
We're more bacteria than we are cells. And even more interesting, you actually look at like our an atom. 99.9% of an atom is actually space. So we're actually mostly space, and then secondarily we're bacteria, and then thirdly we're actually these cells. So think on that. But we need to get outside. We need to be plugged in. We need to get the bacteria that's in the ground, the ions that and the geomagnetic
Yes.
forces in the air and in the ground. We need to pet dogs and cats. We need to love on other people and have long hugs and exchange that microbiome and have the oxytocin. And, we need that interaction. And,
Yeah.
I mean, if I can just get to this point, if it's okay on the immune system, a little controversial, but I think that if people need to take their immune system to the gym to be healthy.
Yes, they do.
And so if you're not feeling sick, if you're healthy metabolically, then you need to be out there, out and about. You need to honestly eat food off the ground. You need to get out in the dirt.
Yes.
You need to have your hands and feet in the dirt bare, and you need to jump in a lake, and you need to be around some people that are coughing and sneezing, and you need to hug people. Now, if you're not feeling well, sure. If you're immunocompromised, okay. If you're metabolically unhealthy and you have type 2 diabetes or whatever, okay. But otherwise, you should be challenging your immune system. You should be taking it to the gym. And if there's times it needs to rest and not be around that stuff, cool, that makes sense. Just like you need time off from the gym when your allostatic load is too high. But if your immune system has room in that bucket, then you need to be challenging it so that bucket gets bigger. But all the things that we're getting told right now is making that bucket much smaller. We're isolating ourselves. We're watching TV and looking at our phones, doing clickbait, fear-based stuff so that we're dividing ourselves with mask, no mask, with Biden or Trump, with Black Lives Matter, with all the things that are just,
all the things.
You're in this camp or you're in that camp. You're good or you're bad. You're right or you're wrong. And all of this stuff is dividing us and really destroying our immune system, and antibiotics and vaccines and all of these things really are not helping our immune system. Like and don't get me wrong, like I worked clinically for 10 years. I'm a scientist. Like I believe in the use of some of these things at strategic points.
Right.
But blanket use of them is killing us. It's counterproductive. So I'll just put that out there.
Dude,
yeah, I'm totally that mom, by the way.
We receive it, we hug it, and we hold it very tight because we totally agree.
But I am am I or am I not that mom? I'm like so that mom. The other moms probably think I'm a nightmare. Like something will fall to the floor and I'm like, oh, you can eat that.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's fine.
We get upset when they try to put
My
the
never
hand
get
sanitizer
sick,
on.
though. They never get sick. Yeah, I'm the mom that's actually like, no, to the Purell. I'm like, no.
That's killing the microbiome on your body, a healthy microbiome.
Yeah.
You're literally like laying waste. It's just like the antibiotics, just killing off all the good bacteria. It's insane. It's like the exact opposite thing you want to do. And they've shown, by the way, with antibiotics, that it takes up to 2 years to build back your GI tract.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's wild.
And that's where all your immune system is. Not only your immune system, that's where almost all your neurotransmitters are. It's not just your brain.
Neurotransmitters.
That's where the majority of your serotonin, dopamine, GABA, acetylcholine, all those things are.
Yeah, man.
So what are you doing to your mental health?
Well, and you talk about NLP and like, what is it? 75% of communication is nonverbal. Imagine being a developing brain and you lose all of that. I'm upset about that one because we're not going to see the effects of that one for another 15 years, 10, 15 years. But I'm really upset about that one.
Babies born
children
into a mask world.
School, and the other thing is, I love that you brought it up because beware of like duality, because everybody likes to, it's kind of like, who was it who invented the word racism? Trotsky invented the word racism. You were either racist or not racist, or you were black or white. No one ever said that before. It was, there were, but it was, you were Irish, you were this, you were that. And when you say mask versus no mask, Trump versus Biden, like that's a very easy tool to divide people. And people should be, what's the word, suspicious of that.
Bullshit. Yeah, and anything that's two camps is bullshit. period.
Yeah,
If
I
someone
totally agree with that.
put you in one camp or another, they say, are you this or are you that? They say, like, when people ask me, like, are you Christian or not Christian? I'm like, well, I'm kind of agnostic. Like, are you Republican or Democrat? I'm like, I'm kind of libertarian. Like, I almost like,
I love it.
I'm like,
Yeah.
what, like, are you gun or no gun? I'm like, well, there's times that I think it's okay. Like anyone, like
Yeah.
anyone like tries to put me in a box. I'm like,
Yeah.
there's no box. Get away from me with your box.
I refuse to play
Yeah.
the game.
I know.
Yeah. Well, I hate to take us off of this, but I'll take us off of like, and I'll get into like, it's not quite the science stuff, but I was interested in this because you mentioned how, we have ashwagandha, rhodiola, all the adaptogenic herbs and the adaptogenic mushrooms, but then the cannabis is our, kind of, it's like an adaptogen, and our endocannabinoid system is our like internal adaptogenic system. And you mentioned something, and I wanted you to talk about it a little bit about how if someone feels like off, that they should address their endocannabinoid system. So what did you mean by that?
Yeah, it's a great point. And God, I really love these questions. They're so different from all the podcasts I've done.
I'm sure.
This is the good
ECS,
stuff.
Yeah, the ECS is the endocannabinoid system, is one of the key systems in our body. And as a matter of fact, it's called the master controller. So just as important as your nervous system, your circulatory system, cardiopulmonary, like whatever, like all these systems that are in our body, the endocannabinoid system is a master controller of mood, of pain, of inflammation, of all these things. And we don't hear about this. We think CBD is just some compound that like chills us out, or is something in weed. It's the non-psychoactive component of marijuana, and THC is the psychoactive component. But there's actually hundreds of cannabinoids. There's almost as many with phytocannabinoids, which are plant-based ones, and then there's the entourage effect with other cannabinoids with each other, and then terpenes and other things that are present. And we are finding that, yes, CBD, this is bio-individual, and it depends on someone's deficiencies with this system, the endocannabinoid system. But they can have a dramatic impact on pain, on inflammation, on mood. And we don't know all the other ones and how they affect this either, because there's CBN and CBG, and there's things like anandamide that like really need to be studied more, and what's the correct combination for you. But there's no testing around the ECS right now. I don't know any doctor that's like saying, oh, you've got these 3 deficiencies of these, cannabinoids.
Right.
Why isn't this happening? If it's the master controller, we're not hearing about it.
That's
So it's
true.
one of those things that's interesting. And for the moment, you have to kind of self-explore and self-medicate to some degree. And I talk about all that stuff in the book.
I love that. We it's unfortunate, man, because we have our cards and we've switched doctors a few times.
Oh,
and it's like we're hoping for.
But it's not even the doctor's fault.
I mean, I know, but I feel like if we talk to Dr. Berger, because he's passionate about this stuff, but like most of these places are just like, okay, you got your card.
Well, because most people don't even want the consult. They're
They
like,
don't want
give
the consult.
me my weed. Let me
Give
get out
me
of
my
here.
and they
don't want the
abuse it.
consult.
And it's like, yeah, I want my feelings to turn off. And I'll be honest, last year we did a lot of that.
Yeah.
We did a lot of that, but we realized it wasn't helpful. And like we're trying to get deeper and figure out like what type of protocols can we try. And it's like, so you're saying you need more milligrams? Is that what you need? More milligrams? Okay, I'll put more milligrams down. All right, see you later.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no like, yeah, maybe you should try, this ratio, or you know what I mean? So it ends up being on us, which again is good news, because at the end, all of this is up to us, and we should take ownership of all of it.
Yeah,
all
we
of
should.
it. So congrats.
Great point, like that you bring up, and something that I cover in the book too, is that like that we're suppressing our emotions because again we're out of alignment, and we're out of integrity with our body, and we want to suppress that feeling of this doesn't feel right, what I'm doing, the people I'm putting around me, and I'm not. One of the best forms of self-love is setting boundaries. And we are horrible.
So bad. I'm the worst.
We're letting our boundaries get trampled over all the time. Our rights, both as a human and, politically and whatever, just all of our rights are just getting trampled. And the energy we're putting out there and what we want for our lives, it's getting trampled, and we're getting used to that. And so we're suppressing and suppressing. And then it's even worse as men, because we're living in an ultra masculinized world where it's all about doing and not about being. It's not about healing and conversations. It's about, what do you do for a living? And because it's a capitalistic society, and they can make us feel insecure because it's about doing and it's about buying stuff and what do you have? And it's not about deeper conversations. It's not about healing. It's not about helping one another. And we need those feminine energies in the world right now, but it's an ultra masculinized world to our detriment.
Yeah. This is a good segue, because we were talking about bioindividuality. And so, you do mention how important it is for people to look within and tailor their lifestyles to their bioindividuality. And I totally agree with this. Too often nowadays, people just want to take, what this celebrity is taking, or with that, or not even whatever they say they're taking, supposedly doing, and just adopt it, probably because it's a longer and harder process, of course, to figure it out ourselves. What are some, ways that people can tailor their lifestyles better versus just copying the newest trend or whatever's out there?
Yeah, so in the book, The Energy Formula, it's an acronym for experiment, nutrition, exercise, routines, growth, and your tribe. And in the first chapter, experiment, I go into understanding your bio-individuality, and that what you do is going to be different from someone else, and what works for someone else may or may not work for you, and how to explore that. Just know that these studies that we're all looking at are with 18 to 24-year-old wealthy white males in college that are athletic. If you think that, and by the way, I do these studies all the time on my ingredients, we have hyper or super responders, and we have non-responders. And then there's people in between, and we take that statistical average. And so even in the studies, there's dropouts, there's people that it works really well for, there's people it does nothing for, but you just see the statistical average. And this is with a small segment of society that isn't representative of the 8 billion people on this planet. And so these studies are helpful, they're directional. I'm proud to put studies out there, but they don't represent everyone. And so you have to keep that in mind to explore, as you were saying, Danny, what works for you, and be in charge of your own health. And grant yourself the grace and time to do one thing at a time and see whether it works for you or not. That's the scientific method, is to do one thing at a time, assess it, and then move forward with it, or drop it and do something else. But otherwise, you're shotgunning 10 things, and that's not scientific at all. And you don't know what's working and what's not working. And you're not getting in tune with your body, to your point that you guys have made several times, of just being aligned with your body, listening to your body, understanding your health, instead of just suppressing and pushing and ignoring and powering through and all these terms that we always talk about. We're not in tune with our body. When we're actually listening to ourselves through prayer, through meditation, through deep work, through plant medicine, through therapy, through daily affirmations or gratitude, that's when we're listening to ourselves. That's when we're aligned with ourselves. But typically, we don't even want to talk to ourselves. We hate ourselves. If anyone talked to you like you talk to you, you wouldn't be their friend.
Yeah.
So we're out of alignment there, and we're ignoring the voice that's already in our head, the most powerful voice in our life.
I think the one thing that I noticed too, because some people are actually, they are just doing one thing at a time when they're doing the experimentation, but they're so squirrely because of our lifestyles that they don't take a second to stop and be like, did that really work or didn't it work? It was like, yeah, I did that. Oh yeah, I did that for 30 days last February. How'd it work for you? I think it worked well. And like, you don't know because you didn't take the time to assess afterwards. And it's like, how often do we have to be taught the same lesson over and over, that these things take time and that we need to just chill a little bit. We need to slow down and be patient. Like, I'm learning that with math training, like maximum aerobic function, because I'm like doing these miles and I can't go above 140 beats per minute. And it's like I'm walking the majority of the time because my heart starts going over. But over time, very slowly, I feel like, but everybody tells me, I will get faster and I will perform faster at that same heart rate, but I got to give it the time, and I got to stick with it. And I think a lot of people, they don't. So I just have one more quick question, because the routines, this is something that both of us have nailed, like our morning routines. And I wanted to ask you, because you mentioned evening routines, but I want to know, like, do you have an evening routine as well? Is it, I don't want to say necessary. Is it optimal to do both? And if so, like, what type of evening routine do you have?
I absolutely think it's optimal to do both. One of the top factors, like when Tim Ferriss studied with Tools of Titans, these incredible people that he interviewed, the commonalities were two things. One, they had a dialed morning routine. Two, that they were experimenters, that they were expert reframers. And that's a mindset thing. That's the stoicism thing. So I get into that in growth, and I get into morning routines in the routine chapter, and I believe heavily in both. And it gets into that circadian rhythm that I discuss in that chapter, and that sleep wake cycle. And they've shown that people that do not get proper sleep at 6.5 hours or less have a threefold increase in coronary heart disease and a 5x increase in type 2 diabetes. You actually become acutely insulin resistant when you don't get enough sleep.
Oh, I can see that.
And you become chronically insulin resistant when you chronically don't get enough sleep. And it sets up that whole metabolic syndrome issue. Your neurons actually fire less fast. That brain fog you're feeling is because they're not firing as well. And so then you'll get into points where you're not making as good of decisions that require more energy. And you're looking for things like caffeine and sugar because there's not enough energy. And so that makes sense. And so you critically need that sleep. And we also do something called social jet lag, where we're staying up too late on the weekends, 3 or 4 hours later. It's just like taking a trip to Europe. And then we're surprised on Monday that we feel like crap. And so having proper sleep hygiene, where you go to bed at the same time every day, and having a sleep fortress made where we dial in proper sleep and what it means to set up good sleep, meaning that your bedroom has great bedding, that your bedroom is cool, that your bedroom has fresh air in it, however that looks, maybe with plants and things like that, that you've blocked out LED lights on all these devices, that you're not looking at your cell phone or tablet or TV, certainly, or computer in the bedroom. The bedroom should be only for two things, and that's sleep and sex, and that's it. That's all. Like, when you walk into that fortress, that's supposed to be all it's for. I would even say, like, if you're planning on having an argument, get up out of bed, have the argument outside of your bedroom, finish it up, and then go back to bed. It's bad. These are called anchors in NLP. And you start setting anchors for that bedroom to be a place of dis-ease, where you watch TV and things with sex and violence going on, where you're hyper-stimulated, or where you're having these arguments, or you're looking at devices, and that room becomes an area for blue light, or whatever. It's like, this isn't a healthy approach to having that be all about sleep. When you walk through that door, you feel relaxation. That's a psychosomatic response. It's just like when you go to these blue zones and these people are eating a certain way, like Mediterranean, like, we're always like looking, well, what's the food? What's the food like? Are they drinking? What's the wine? But it's that they have a 3-hour meal and they talk and they relax. And so for them, when they eat food, it becomes a psychosomatic response of parasympathetic nervous system. They eat food, they feel relaxed. Food becomes an anchor for relaxation. For us, it's the exact opposite psychosomatically. When we eat, we're going into traffic. We're getting it from a vending machine. We're arguing. We're, eating
Yes.
we're
Standing.
watching a violent movie. We're standing.
Yeah. If you're me, you're standing. I'm like,
I always try.
and I do it like without noticing. Danny's like, go sit down. I'm like, okay.
You're snacking and, literally try and make the food experience a relaxing experience. And then food can be healing for you. But even food with all these good nutrients can be bad for your body psychosomatically because you're making an anchor that way. So think about how you're eating. And it's the same thing with sleep. And it's the same thing when you get up in the morning. You just need 5 minutes to change your day radically. If you give me 5 minutes, like if you have the lights come on slowly, like you can do this on an app or a lamp where the lights get slightly brighter, and then you have chimes come in and get a little louder and closer together, and you wake up slowly and relax instead of the
Yeah, that's so true.
and you relax in, and then do some box breathing. Like 8-second box where you like breathe in for 8 seconds, you hold for 8 seconds, you breathe out for 8 seconds, hold for 8 seconds. Do that.
Oh, that's a good one.
Do that 3 or 4 times. And then do some gratitude. Like what I'm thankful for. I'm just so thankful for all these things. And then some affirmations. Say like, I love me. I'm proud of me. I'm incredible. I'm sexy. I'm beautiful. I'm healthy. Today is going to be an amazing day. And then you get up, do 2 minutes of light stretching, grab a full glass of water. That's 5 to 10 minutes. You tell me how different your day is going to feel than someone just rolling out of bed and just, jumping in the car, drinking coffee or a Red Bull and, eating a donut and fighting traffic
Instagram
and all that crap. Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody who's listening, please try this for like a month at least, because it's cumulative. It adds up. It starts to what Shawn's talking about, like the neuroplasticity, all the things that are happening. It takes some time. So, don't just think that you're going to wake up and you're just going to have the best day ever. Just keep doing it. Just be committed to it.
And going back to your voice being the most powerful one, the most transformative one in your life, if you're waiting on that savior to come or whatever, that someone to walk through that door and give you all these compliments, I mean, people treat you like you treat you. You set the bar. You set the boundaries.
I love that.
You tell people how they're going to treat you. So if you treat yourself like shit, no one's going to treat you well. You have to treat yourself well. You have to talk to yourself well. You have to respect yourself, love yourself, and it starts with how you talk to yourself. It starts with how you treat yourself, and people see it. Just like if someone sees that husband that's abusive to that woman, and it feels uncomfortable, and whatever. I mean, how do you think it sounds when Danny, if you say, oh, so stupid, that was so dumb, yeah, I'm just a fat ass. Whatever. If you say stuff like that, I mean, what does that mean? What is that saying about you? You have to love you. You have to grant yourself grace. You're training people how to treat yourself. So have it change with how you treat you. Have it be in the morning that you train yourself. This is how I'm going to talk to myself. This is how my day is going to be, and I'm going to manifest the hell out of that.
I love that. Perfect.
We tell the boys all the time.
Yeah.
We tell the boys because my oldest will say, I'm so stupid. I suck at this. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, you're not. You're just having a hard time with this. You're great at a million things. This is something that you're having a hard time. It doesn't define who you are,
Yeah.
But, man.
This has been amazing.
Amazing, brother. As always, amazing.
Yeah, thank you. I love your conversations are the best. I love you guys. Like literally, I can't think, and I've done like hundreds of podcasts. I literally think the two I've done with you guys are like the two best.
Wow, dude, I got goosebumps.
We feel the same.
I
We
feel
love
like
it.
we don't hang
love
out
it.
enough, man.
I know, we gotta hang out.
We barely ever get to see each other in person, and when we do, it's always awesome.
Yes, I know. We need to do that. We need more conferences, but I guess I just got to come to you guys and hang out.
Please
Yeah.
come to Tampa,
We're gonna
man.
have to like transition for now to smaller, events. I think,
Well,
which is better, anyways. For me, it's better. I feel like it's more intimate. You could actually have better conversations when,
What if we did like some Tampa meetup thing, like with some of your followers, your peeps? I'll fly into town. Let's do something. Let's do an event.
dude, when we finish recording, I have an idea for you already. I got an idea. Let's see what your schedule looks like, because I got an idea.
Oh, I know what he's gonna tell you.
Let us know.
It's not in Tampa.
No, Tampa.
Correct. Oh, it is in Tampa.
Yeah. I'm curious.
But I will throw out this before we finish. So go to energyformula.com.
Yes,
where everybody can find you. Let us know.
Energyformula.com. You get the book, this 400-page, 100 plus scientific citations, 60 plus full color diagrams. The entire book is full color, and it has surveys to help you like where you're starting and where you're going and tell your progress. There's formulators corners that go into the doses and forms and brands, and resource hacks that go into the apps, the devices, the techniques. And the book is really like my life's work, and it's pretty incredible. And then on top of that, for 99 cents, you get a fasting for energy guide that's like 25 pages and cited. It gives you all the different fasts and like what your avatar is and what fast you should be doing. Then I have a hidden chapter on natural ancestral movement that's super cool, and you get all that stuff for 99 cents. I also have a hardcover that's $39.99, but know that it cost me $39.80 to make it, because it's literally full color and the best quality paper and binding and all that stuff. So I went all in on that one. Eventually there'll be a soft cover, I think maybe in a year. And I do have an Audible coming out maybe in 3 months, but April 1st, you can get the hardcover, $39.99, or you can get the ebook for 99 cents with all that stuff. So I think that's a hell of a value, and I appreciate your support.
That's amazing.
Buy it or get it for loved ones. I think it will radically change your life. And if you want to follow me elsewhere, it's Shawn Wells, ShawnWells, Shawn. So ShawnWells.com or at Shawn Wells on Instagram. And then I'm also doing a lot of Clubhouse. So I'm at
Clubhouse.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm at Biohacking on Clubhouse, and I'm on there almost every day now. So you can check me out.
Oh, I gotta go check you out there.
Yeah, I'm on it.
We're trying to get him into it. He can't commit.
I know. Well, we're gonna do.
He hasn't found the right room. Like the room that he started out the other day. I know we want to do one. We were gonna do a carnivore one last Friday, and it was the bad timing, and we're like, okay, we had a podcast. We had like too many things going on, but yeah, we definitely want to do it
together.
Yes. I know. We should start a club, a room. Let's start something. Let's do one. We could totally do that. Yeah, let's set
it up.
Put it
on the books.
Yeah, let's just put it in the book. See what we're gonna be talking about. Get some good people to come in on there.
We could have conversations like this every week. Come on.
I know. I love it.
I know, man.
I love it.
I need to do that because
Clubhouse is great.
I was, I'm always like, I got like 5 audiobooks I'm trying to read, and I'm like, she recommended one to me, and it was just like people just shooting the breeze, and I was like, man, I don't got time for this. I want to.
Well, you just came in when they first started. They had literally just opened the room. It's a 2-hour room. They were like, good morning. What'd you have for breakfast? And Danny's like, I don't have time for this. I'm like, you gotta wait. They're gonna talk about fast or whatever. It was exogenous ketones or something.
Yeah, I was down for the subject. So anyways, brother, thank you so much again, and it's always great to have you.
Thank you for having me on. Love you guys so much. Appreciate it.
We love
you.